Hello and welcome to another S'more RV video. Today we're talking about 5 essential items that you should consider getting for backing up your camper and making your parking job a lot easier. Let's get into these things. So the first thing I want to talk about are these Camco leveling blocks. Now these things are versatile. You've seen them around. You can find them at every RV supplier or online, wherever you want to go. Why are these essential? I like these for multiple use items to have in your camper. When we think about things we're bringing along in our camper, I like to think in terms of how can I use this for more than just one item. So obviously with these blocks, you can see I got my camper actually mounted up on them. My jack's on there. That's great because having the stackables allows me to do whatever level I want along with my jack based on where I'm parked. The other thing these are great for are leveling off things around your campsite. So for example, this table that comes with us on every single camping trip holds our Blackstone on it. We usually do a lot of our cooking on it. I make breakfast on here. When I get to my campsite, this sits in the back by our outdoor kitchen. It's never level. So what do? I just pop a few of these underneath. So the fact that these come apart allows them to be used more versatile. I go right underneath, I can stack them on top of each other. Great for leveling off things around the camper. When we pull down our stairs and our steps, the bottom of the steps lay perfectly on here so it raises up off the ground. So it's not in the mud or rocks or wherever, just typically based on where we park. These are great for that. We also use these underneath the stabilizers that come down on the camper. So when I have 4 stabilizers down, I don't want them sitting on the ground. I don't want them sitting in mud. I put these underneath. So these Camco leveling blocks are great and essential, I think, for your camping trip. It also makes backing up and leveling off a lot easier. You can use these to actually level off your tires. Because they stack, I can actually take them and build a blocking system up. Build a blocking system up so that I can park on it. So essential, I would highly recommend buying 2 sets of these. The first 2 years, I went around having just 1 set, never had enough. So second year, immediately, this was the first thing we purchased. Low budget, essential for backing up, parking, and leveling off. The next thing, not essential, but also useful. It was one of the first purchases we bought when we looked online and we saw people and what they were buying Anderson chocks. So I bought these Anderson chocks, these Anderson blocks, whatever you want to call them. And we use these several times, but we don't use these nearly as much. But why they're essential? If you're doing a lot of parking on places that aren't flat, you don't have level ground, concrete pads, level rocks to park on, you're parking and boondocking and grass, these are really nice because they help lift you up pretty quickly and they get you off the ground and they're wide. So I like that for the base. They don't push down very easily into the mud. That's also what's probably a little bit different than using the Camco blocks is using these blocks because they don't sink as easily. That's my recommendation. Are they essential? Not necessarily. You're also gonna notice we're missing a piece, right? We only have 3 of these. What happened? Well, I was using this on a harder surface and when we were backing off of them, this got shot out and it exploded and it literally almost like fired off and hit my wife. So it's also not the best, I guess, design when it comes down to it. Typically, if we're gonna have to raise up, I will do this. I will use these Camco blocks if I have to raise up, but these are a nice option. Not essential, but could be essential. Probably one of my favorite items I've ever purchased based on 2 things, price and versatility. These are great. These are just your standard thick rubber chocks. These are very heavy. There's 2 things I really like about these. First, they have this design that your tire kind of hits and then they don't move. So you could either flip it this way for grip and have your tire laying here, or you can flip it this way for grip and have this part on the bottom. Either way, these things have not moved on me. In fact, if my tire rolls on them a little bit, they crunch underneath and they're hard to pull, which leads me to the second thing I love, which is this little handle right here. This handle is heavy duty, it's rubber, so when the tire is over top of this and I need to pull out without getting in the truck, moving it 1 inch, I can just yank this out and it usually slides right out with a little force. So these are essential. Where can you find these? Harbor Freight. That's where I found them, they were cheap. That's where I bought them from. Get a couple sets of these for as many tires as you want. I typically do front and back tire, back of the back, front of the front, on each side. That's how I chalk up with these. So essential? Absolutely. It's a safety feature, not to roll your camper when you're unhooking. Keeps everything in place. The next thing I want to talk about are X-Chocks. Are they essential? I'm going to say yes. Do you need them? I would. Why? There's 2 things that X-Chocks do for your camping visit, for your parking, make it simple when you back up. Whenever I back up, the first thing I always do is throw in these rubber chocks underneath. The second thing I do is put on my X-Chocks. Now, part of the reason for that is because my slides go out over one side of my tires, so I have to put this in first and tighten it down. The other thing is, these are stabilizers. So X-Chocks stop your wheels from moving against one another. That's the whole purpose. They have force going this way, force going this way. When your tires try to move, it squeezes on this and it doesn't let them move. The other thing this thing does is it stabilizes your camper. So if you put these on, I've noticed a huge difference between having these between my wheels and everything inside moving and rocking and not having them. That's even with my stabilizers that come down. These work the best. So again, it's a versatile piece. It has multi-purposes for what I need it to. Stops the camper from moving. It also stabilizes the inside. So essential, I would say so. The only thing I don't like is I always lose this piece. I can never find it. I always have it in the bin with the parking stuff, but it slides underneath and it disappears because it's dark. It's, it's a stupid problem to have, but it's still a problem. Easy to use. You just crank it back and forth. You have this little thing to flip it, so you could go tighten it or loosening it. Nice, versatile. Highly recommend these X-Chocks. Check them out. So the fifth and final thing I would recommend for making your life easier backing in and parking your camper RV is the Level Mate Pro system. Now you can't see it here because it's actually already installed in the camper. On our channel, you're gonna see that I already did a review and setup of how to use a Level Mate Pro, so check that out. It's linked down below. Essentially what the Level Mate Pro does is it allows you to get into your camping spot, see where you're at quickly, and then use these things to make adjustments. If you're like us with kids and you're weekend warrioring it, you back in, the last thing you want to do is be pulling forward, backing up, pulling forward for a half hour trying to get level when you're using just an actual physical level. With the Level Mate Pro, it's all on your phone. So as I'm backing up, I'm finding as level as I possibly can on my pad or on the rocks that we're parked on or even on grass. And then once I find a semi-flat spot, or I know that I can use one of these easily to lift me up an inch or two, that makes it essential. So the Level Mate Pro allows us to get into our parking spot quickly and then start everything else. Don't forget, we have sewer to hook up, water, electrical. My wife does everything inside. We set up everything outside. And by the way, you got 3 little kids running around. So we want that process to be super simple, fast, and quick. And all of these things are not only essential for the safety part of it, for stabilization, peace of mind, but it's also to do everything quickly when you're setting up. Everything that you've seen in this video is linked down below to a link to Amazon to purchase it. If you buy from that link, it helps us, it helps you. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button. We're gonna have a lot more videos coming out this year, including following us around on our camping adventures. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.